Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, the Copper Owl, bringing you the results of the Nerf dart test. Sort of. There, once again, I have had problems. So it turns out the Nerf targets this thing. When you do one of the tests, the one I was using where you test out 7 darts to see how the accuracy, you get the points, turns out that you miss, you have to pick up another dart, and it's like, well, a miss is a miss. So, yeah, it was like, it got more convoluted. And then I tried just doing the timer one, and then it's like, that got more convoluted, and then I tried the other tests. It was like, because it's just not like, oh, turn the darn thing on, fire at it a few times. Oh, there you go, your results. No, it's not like that at all. It continues the timer and everything, and it's just, But I got a pretty decent idea, and you can see my environment has changed a bit because... Oh, why is that open? It has changed a bit because, ta-da, I got more grid shelves, so the desk has been moved out of my closet, which I am sad about because I did like working in the closet as my personal office. There is a possibility I'm just going to put one of these little unfolding tables and a chair in there anyway and just work in there, but currently the desk is now in the corner with my computer set up and all that, and I have my rolly chair in there. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to just do that whole thing where I just because if I'm going to put a chair in there, I'm going to put the rolly chair in there because it's smaller, rolls around, gets out of my way versus a regular chair. So I'll just put the regular chair in here. But anyway, so let's get on to the results. So this is the knockoff darts first. It's going to be a little bit of a lengthy video. So these ones performed the worst range-wise. Whoops. And I'm going to come back and do the test again one day to give you more conclusive results. Because, again, it's like, they're very similar. But knockoff darts seem to be the worst. And I did time how long it took me to reload to load the magazines with the Infinite and by hand, and all that. They fed terribly through the files, so but they were the greatest in the Rev Reaper, surprisingly. I'm like, wow. They had a 40-foot range in the Rev Reaper. Everything else, just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And all that stuff. And you can see, like, I had an earlier idea for the accuracy. And price-wise, I don't know how much these cost because I got them for free. I don't know where to get them and all that stuff. So, yeah. And also, I don't know what. I'm going to make a better chart next time. Rarity, I don't even know how rare these things are. But since everybody has them in their blasters when I go thrifting, I would say they're common. And jams, didn't get any jams with them, surprisingly. Yeah, no magazine jams. But the FPSs are interesting in their own right as well. It's just, they were subpar in everything. Except for, yeah, even in the Rapid Strike, they were very subpar. And this is their spread with the Moto Blitz. Yeah, I drew the spreads. So you can kind of see how interesting it is. They were fairly clustered. So they make for a decent, like if you need a nice cluster, they made for a decent one. Whereas the Dart Zone darts, look at that. They kind of went upwards and all that. They did better. Dart Zone darts being these the green ones. I got them confused too. That was a big problem too. I got some darts mixed up, and that threw everything off too. But again, you see, they did better in the ranges, even in the Jolt. You just did way better, and all that, and equivalent to the Rev Reaper as well. But you can see some of them like in the Rampage. Which one was the Rampage? Oh yeah, this is the shotgun one. Like they did similar, even well, again, Slamfire was worse. And surprisingly, their FPS was fairly equivalent. So, but again, it was better in some aspects. So that was fairly interesting how it's how their FPSs differed and all that. So it seems like the Dart Zone blasters are just better in flywheels. One of them did break. It broke with the long strike. It just got tore up in there. So it took me 24 seconds to load in the Infinite. 24, so it was faster to load these in the Infinite. Thick darts hit sides. Lost one in the hallway. And lost a second feeding problem in the Infinite. Yeah, it had a feeding problem. That's whenever it doesn't want to feed properly. Yeah. Elite darts, of course, they had a fairly better FPS all around, but they jammed a lot. And their ranges were, again, very similar, but better with the Rev Reaper and all that. Again, all the ranges were similar and everything. It's just getting a little bit better. And it took me longer to load it in the Infinite than it did in the you see, this is also one of the earlier ones. Than in the by hand. It was better in the regulator than expected, and just grabbed a random one, full out mode, 57. Only need high and low for regular full. Don't load Infinite with hand full of darts. Oh yeah. This because you can see that this was my first attempt. I had a handful of darts to try to load them up, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I just put them on the table, grab one at a time. Scavenger it's also realized that I took the Scavenger out of the equation because it just did so badly. My Scavenger is a lemon, and I did not realize this. And I also learned that the drum does not work in the long strike, so I had to give it a different mag. And it had a fairly scattered. I really liked that spread. It was like a cross. It was really interesting to look at. Like, wow. So, yeah, I thought that was nice for the Elite Dart. So they are probably the best for the Modulus. Moto Blitz. Again, Moto Blitz, not Modulus. What am I saying? Again, oh yeah, we'll go back to the prices and accuracies and all that stuff. So AccuStrike darts. So these are the orange ones and all that. So those had worse ranges, surprisingly to me. But I guess it's because the tip is heavier, so yeah. And they had decent FPSs. Again, everything was fairly consistent with one another and all that stuff. It took longer to load in the Infinite than by hand. And it didn't work so well in the quad rot when it came to measuring the numbers. And it had a fairly consistent spread. What can you expect? Big power darts. Now, this is the one that started it all. These big power darts. This was the reason why I made this test, to show, this is peak performance right here. And it ended up being one of the worst darts to use entirely. It had the worst ranges all around, 24 feet versus, well, not in the Joel. It did better in the Joel. But the quad rod, it had 29 between 31, where it's knockoff darts, which I say was pretty much one of the worst, and all that. Hammer shot, it did good. Springers, it did pretty well. Regulator, it did pretty in regulator. Storm charge, compared to that they did almost the same, but it was more consistent on the top part. The shotgun, it did between it was between 17 and 24 feet and all that. Where again, these were worse, but it's the FPSs were bad as well. You see, again, even the jolt, it was worse than the FPSs. That's what I was trying to say. And that was like, wow, that surprised me how bad the FPSs were. And it took way longer to load this with the Infinus, to load the mag with the Infinus than it did by hand. I was like, and yeah, jammed into Rapid Strike and everything. It just was like, wow, these just did not want to work at all with the drum and the Infinus. And I think it's because of their length. So they're fairly short compared to other darts, tip-wise. Even like, here, see? And I think that was the main problem was. But another thing is, I'm getting to the accuracy because you got to use my word for this because I was just shooting the target and everything. This thing missed the most. It went. I'm looking because again, it was really hard to test out the accuracy with these darts because I'm standing in a different location every time. My arm is like not holding them properly and everything. There has to be a way to test out the accuracy of these things within a flywheeler and all that. So that was my problem. I couldn't it was just there's so many variables for me to calculate with the accuracy, like where I'm standing, how I'm holding the blaster, and all that. How not even wind is a problem, but it's like outdoors wind was a problem. Things like that. And yeah, it was like next time I do the test, it's going to be 3 blasters. It's going to be a flywheeler, it's going to be a Springer, and it's going to be another flywheeler, but it's an automatic. Okay, and in that test, I'm going to try to figure out a way how to not move. Okay, so yeah, this was the most disappointing of them all because just the technical problems of it, and it just underperformed. It still performed better than the knockoffs, but it just underperformed in some against the other darts. Continued to the suction cup darts actually performed a lot better than I expected, and all that. So, but they're like on par with like the regular dart zone darts, which surprised me. But it fishtailed a lot in the Rampage for some reason. And I don't know why I see again. Darts are thick. I don't remember why I kept putting that down because it's been so long. And of course, by hand, it took longer, but it was shorter in the Infinus, and it had like a very consistent cluster. Then we have the Adventure Force Waffle Heads, which are the green ones, I believe. Yeah, again, I should have just written green and red. All that. So these ones again perform fairly similar. They did bad in some blasters did good in them. I remember there was like a weird one. Which one was it that did super weird? Oh yeah, the suction cup darts in the Storm Charge reached 71 feet for some reason. That's why I wrote that there. I don't know why they did that on average. There was another one that did something weird. And I assume it's just everything went according to plan, maybe? But yeah, it was wow, it was really odd. I remember that. I think it was just that, second couple. Because again, the numbers are fairly similar. The Jolt is the one that performs the lowest and all that, so they're always in the 60s and everything. And again, it's this one had several jams. I remember that one. And it took long. Infinus, reloading it with the Infinus was shorter by a second. Infinus did not feed well, and it did not fire 2 darts. I remember that. It was there were just 2 darts still in the mag, so I assume the mag just didn't feed it right. I don't remember. I think it was a jam. No, yeah, it was the 2 jams. It jammed twice. Yeah, that's what it was. And the Rampage kept bumping the sides of the chronograph. Rev Reaper didn't. It jammed up the Rev Reaper too. That was weird. and it had a very scattered spread. So let's talk about like their accuracies, their rarities, and all that stuff again. So accuracy wise, with the knockoff darts, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When looking at when I was firing it, it was very consistent with every dart. I'm like probably like a few feet, like maybe 6 feet away from this thing. Fairly consistent that this piece was shot multiple times, more often than this. And I think the only time I hit the middle was with a red and an orange. So yeah, that was interesting when it comes to accuracy. They're fairly consistent with accuracy, and I'm remembering with the when I fired them in the yard and all that. I don't have a yard anymore, people, so it's gonna be a lot harder to actually do that. So firing them in the yard and everything, they essentially the spread would be like 3 feet apart from each other. The farthest it's gonna go that way, it's 3 feet. Farthest it's gonna go, like if you go down the middle, it's gonna be like 1.5 foot over there, 1.5 foot over there, and then you got your ranges like 17 feet over here is the lowest, and then it's like 40 feet is the highest. Okay. So and then you got the cluster in the middle and all that. I remember that. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna be a fairly interesting spread with some of these darts and everything. So none of them were accurate, but for some reason, when I was trying to get the results from this thing, it was always hitting this. So I have to walk away farther. The only darts that performed so badly were this dart, the suction cup dart, and yeah, it's just these two darts performed the worst accuracy-wise. So let's continue, and so let's go with like rarity. So knockoff darts are somewhat common. I just don't know where you get them. Dart zone darts, common. You could just buy a big one. A big 200 pack one of those. Nerf Elite darts, common. AccuStrike darts, rare. Very rare. In a sense, because I was using official AccuStrike darts that I've saved up in my ammo boxes. I'm not using AccuFakes. And technically, you can get them from the Connect 4 game, but yeah, big power darts, super rare. Because apparently big power no longer is a thing, and so these darts are very rare. But when you get them in big power, you get them in packs of 100. So they're not like... You find them, you get them in a big bundle, really. Next, we have the suction cup darts. Super rare as well. They don't make them anymore. You can find them at Ollie's in like a 12-pack every once in a while. And if you do, I'll get to that. And Waffle Force are common. Prices. So, knockoff darts, I'm pretty sure you can find them for really cheap. But I don't know how much they cost. Dart zone darts, like, what is it, like $10? So. Elite darts, those are, what? $12 for like a 70 pack. Nerf AccuStrike darts. Those are get at Ollie's. I think I got them for like $6 in their packets. Yeah, it was either like somewhere between $4 or $6. Big power darts, they come with their blaster, so it could be like $40 for them. Suction darts, again, those are very rare. And when I think I got them for like $4, but they're super rare. And the waffle heads, they are like $10 as well. Oh no, I think these are more expensive. I think they're like 13. Anyway, so results. Which dart is really the best? And it's gonna be weird because again, these two darts had some fairly big performance issues. They were really the only ones that had like the issues, like the jams. Like again, these jam too much for me. Like the Elite darts, again, let's go and look at them. Like again, you have this one of these freaking broke, okay? And I assume because it's like a mass volume type of thing. Versus the Elite darts, which like they had a ton of jams too, but these did better than the Elite darts. But again, one of these broke. So yeah. So with mass volume and all that stuff, the best dart is actually the green one. This is the best Nerf dart there is. It's fairly accurate. It's the in between in the FPSs as well. As like it's less FPS than the Elite dart, but it has the accuracy. It didn't jam up as much and everything. It has some problems with the Infamous, of course, but no. And all that, but they're common. You get 200 for $10 and all that stuff. And its spread was fairly decent for the shotgun, surprisingly. And all that. And then not everybody has an Infinite. I probably am the only one in town with multiple Infinites. It feels good to say that. Anyway, but yeah. A close second place, I would say, oddly enough, was the Suction Cup dart. This one kept surprising me. It had its problems, but it was fairly accurate. And it was, when I was testing it, except that one miss. And its ranges everything surprised me. I would say Suction Cup darts, there's something to them. But I mean, think about it, and then it's not a second place, really. It's really this dart, the AccuStrike dart, which I dropped somewhere. Dang it. The AccuStrike dart. The Adventure Force dart, and then the Elite dart. Top three are these. The AccuStrike dart ended up, really I would say it was probably the best, but it's so rare that it's not worth it. Okay, so really, if they start making refill packs of this, the order would actually go probably AccuStrike, Adventure Force, and then the Dart Zone one. It'll go in that order. First, second, third. But without that, I actually would say first, second, third. Because just how rare these are. If they ever just remake these, there we go. And I think it's because of the whole tip of it. Let's go to the AccuStrike, because comparison. Their FPS is fairly decent. They had fairly decent ranges in comparison to the Dart Zone darts. So they were 30, 26, lesser. Quad Rod, 31 to 37, 34 to 36. A little bit better. Hammer Shot, 32. They had 30. You see, it's starting to like change. Head Regulator with the burst fire, 18 to 20, 26 to 30. So Dart Zone did better. Storm Charge, they did worse. Yeah, Infamous, 33. So pretty much the same. Rapid Strike, they did around the same, but worse. Retaliator, 34. So yeah, it's looking like they did better in the Springers. That is another thing. It's like, really, when it came to judging these things, like, they're doing better in the Springers and all that. 39, 40 with the Rev Reaper, 34 with the Rampage, and it's Slamfire. They did better. So FPSs, they got like 55.9, 49, 57. Yeah, 63. Same things, similar things. They did better. So you get better FPS, but yeah. So really, you're just gonna get the green darts. And in comparison with the elite darts, again, they're just a better quality. These are just better. Well, yeah, one day I'm going to get back to doing this. And of course, big power is going to be eliminated from that. All these darts are going to be eliminated from it. The only one that's really, this is going to be eliminated from it unless I find more. So it really will be just which of the top top four, I guess, because I got to use the elite darts, are going to be the best. And I'm only going to use 3 blasters. Okay, but I wanted to get you guys the results that you've been waiting for in these things before I go and before I finish cleaning my room and all that, whatever. Because I gotta put away my blasters, okay? I can't have this box of blasters I'm not using sitting around. So, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry it's not the most conclusive thing, and there's gonna have to be a part 2 later on, but hopefully I get to it real soon. I'm just really busy right now. Thank you all very much. You all have a nice day. Bye-bye.